Welcome to asmithvideo episode 7, How to Position Yourself as a Thought Leader. I have trouble giving general advice for this subject as the route for becoming a thought leader in any industry will look different for every person, every business, but it's a question that I receive a lot, so I'll do my best to share from my own experience. The underlying question is, how do I get other people to come to me for advice over other people? And what I've found is that one needs to first be successful in the area they want to give advice in to warrant attention. Now, this seems like common sense, but many people get impatient and want to give advice from what they've read and what sounds good before they ever have experience in an area. Rather than putting in the work and speaking from experience, they settle for not putting forth all of their effort to find out what really works and what doesn't. But on the other hand, what works for one person may not work for another. And this is the issue with giving one-size-fits-all advice. Not only must I find what works for me, but you must do the same. This is why personal experience trumps everything else. We all have a story, and that story serves a purpose. We learn from it, we live it, and we impact people along the way. You see, the only truth you can speak from is your own experience and your own story. So if you want to be a thought leader now, you need to examine your own story to first find what you have experience and expertise in. And if you find that you don't already have experience in the area you want to be an expert in, then it's time to get to work. Sure, you can give advice from any stage of life, but if you want it to be well received, put in the work first and then give advice. I know this seems like common sense, but so many times people get ahead of themselves. I felt like I needed to do an entire episode on it for that reason. But if you're looking to put a time frame on this, I don't completely agree with Malcolm Gladwell's 10,000 hour rule because it's different for everyone again, but just know that it's going to require lots of work. And as long as you know that ahead of time, there won't be the surprise of, oh, I didn't know I signed up for all this work, all this time, all this effort. It just comes down to asking yourself, how bad do you want to achieve your idea of success? And if you want it bad enough, you'll put in the work. Now, if you've already put the work in and still aren't seeing the results that you want, then there are 3 things you can begin doing right now to obtain more leverage in the area you want to become a thought leader in. The first one is find your unique approach to things. This makes sense because, again, we are all unique and we all have a unique story. You may have already put in the work, but the question is, are you unique? Have you as an individual or you and your business set yourself up from everyone else in the market? The ideas of others are a good starting point here, but we don't need another somebody. We already have enough of those. What we need is you and your unique perspective and your abilities to change the way the rest of us see things. That's leading with your ideas, and that's leading with your life. Coming up with much needed ideas so powerful that the rest of us can't help but take notice. That's what unique ideas, extraordinary individuals, and powerful companies have learned to do well. They have learned to change the way the rest of us see the world. Many times they show us what we didn't even know what we wanted or needed, but once we use their service or product or hear their ideas, it sparks such an interest that we can't help but try it out or help but think about it at the very least. The thing about this is that each of us are unique, meaning that we all have unique ideas. The issue is, though, that not many true creatives exist anymore because they're always copying the ideas of others, or they're busy imitating what they've heard before, or they can only focus on what has worked before for them or for other people. And all of those things have their place and are good in some capacity. We need to learn from others to grow, but at some point, we must all find our place in the world if we want to truly make a difference. Your impact is only limited by the boundaries you place on yourself. No one else has the power to limit your ideas but you. The second idea here to become a thought leader is to start a blog, something I know pretty well. But I talk about the need for this a lot because it's so important. If you're wanting to become a thought leader, then the blog is important because it brings a social aspect to your thoughts. We don't only need ideas, but we need discussion around those ideas. This allows for your ideas to become more than ideas and put your ideas out into the world. You can give people examples from your own life that have worked and haven't worked, and then create dialogue around those areas. To be considered a thought leader, you must talk about your area of expertise, and a blog is a perfect way to carry on a conversation with a large group of people on a regular basis. And if it's not a blog, then there are many other ways to have a conversation. Some popular ones right now is starting a podcast, start making videos like I'm doing right now, start speaking at small local events, start asking people to grab a cup of coffee and have conversations. Start somewhere, but whatever form of communication fits you best, begin there and watch the relationships and trust that builds from having important conversation. The more experience you have and the more people you talk with, the easier it is to build trust. And trust is the one thing you desperately need for people to stop long enough to really listen to what you have to say. Show up when you say you will show up, do what you say you're going to do, and help people with advice that really works. Be honest, show up, and deliver. And then third, find what you love, and then be patient. You'll hear this advice in just about anything and everything I say and write, but it's the truth. You need to hear it. So many people can get focused on the short-term results of things that they can't see the long-term advantage of putting in the work. Trust me, you won't become a thought leader overnight. And in fact, people who become thought leaders usually just do great work and then people take notice. They don't set out to be a thought leader. I really want you to hear that over everything else that I'm saying. But it wasn't until year 8 of putting in the work on my blog that people really began taking notice of my work. But I decided long before that I wanted to own a business and that I loved writing, and then those two things hand in hand got me to where I'm at today. But I was going to do those two things whether people noticed or not. I found my passions and I didn't let go of them, and then years later, people now find what I have to say to be interesting. People want to hear my ideas now because of years and years of dedication to my work. So many times people quit right before they could find what they're looking for. They just lack the extra determination that's needed to find it. Remember to be patient because good things come to those who can wait for the reward to come from their work. When you put in the work and then do these 3 things, you'll build enough trust to then give advice to those who need it and who will listen. That's how you become a thought leader. Put in the work now, people will listen later. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe so you don't miss a video. Next time, we'll be talking about your heart and why it's pointless to change your actions before focusing on your heart. I'll see you then.